One of the most underappreciated aspects of Watch Dogs 1 is how it examines the psychological effects of constant surveillance, not just on Aiden Pearce, but on everyone in his orbit. From the moment Aiden gains access to the ctOS network, he is thrust into a world where no one is truly private, and every action carries a weight that transcends immediate gameplay. This isn't just a gameplay mechanic, it's a deliberate narrative choice that reveals the emotional strain of living as both observer and observed. Aiden's proficiency in hacking allows him to manipulate traffic, read phone calls, access bank accounts, and monitor countless civilians. But this omnipotence comes at a steep psychological cost. Every scan, every unlocked secret, reinforces the idea that he is constantly peering into lives he cannot fully understand, and that this knowledge isolates him further from genuine human connection. The people around him also bear the weight of surveillance, whether they realize it or not. Civilians, side characters, and even allies like Clara or DedSec operatives are reduced to data points in Aiden's network, and the game forces players to confront the consequences of this intrusion. For example, profiling someone to complete a mission might reveal their criminal tendencies or personal secrets, but it also exposes the fragility of their lives. By translating real-world vulnerabilities into game mechanics, Watch Dogs 1 creates a subtle tension. The more control Aiden has, the less connected he feels to the human reality behind the screens. It's a commentary on how omnipresent surveillance can erode empathy and make moral decision-making increasingly complex. The ctOS system itself amplifies this psychological effect. It treats the city and its inhabitants like an algorithmic puzzle to be decoded, turning human behavior into predictable patterns that can be exploited. Aiden, by necessity, becomes a living extension of this system, constantly analyzing, anticipating, and acting on data. Over time, this creates a feedback loop. The more he hacks, the more detached he becomes from ethical concerns or emotional stakes. Collateral damage, civilian casualties, or even the discomfort of those he surveils are seen less as moral problems and more as variables in a networked calculation. The game visually and audibly reinforces this detachment. The beeps, the scanning overlays, and the constant alerts make the player hyper-aware that every action is quantified, every decision tracked. This sensory environment immerses players in Aiden's mental state, letting them experience the stress and alienation of being an omnipresent observer. Another important layer is how Aiden's surveillance affects his personal relationships. His niece, his sister, and even his limited interactions with allies are constantly mediated by fear and caution. He distances himself emotionally because he knows or believes that access to information is a double-edged sword. The closer he gets, the more likely he can cause harm or be emotionally compromised. This dynamic adds depth to side missions and story beats, as many interactions revolve around trust, secrecy, and control. The game is careful not to show this explicitly as dialogue, heavy moralizing, but rather through the mechanics themselves. Every phone tapped, every camera monitored,